What is my hair doing right now? Why? You have looked good all day and now you want to start acting up? Hey everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is Lauren. For those of you that don't know me from Twitter or Instagram, I will put my links for both of those down below and you can follow me and talk to me. So last night I sat down and I was filming this video, and I'll be completely honest, I have not been on YouTube since I was 18 years old. And by being on, I mean filming or anything like that. I have not filmed for YouTube in 6 years, almost 7 years. So I sat down last night and my son was asleep in the next bedroom, so I was trying to be quiet. I was so nervous just because I know this is not the best quality video and I was so worried about the feedback I was going to receive. So I sat down and I filmed and I went to edit it and I hated it. I was sitting there and I was like, who is this girl? Why is she acting like this? Like, she's so quiet and she's like so weird. I was like pretty much whispering, and if you can't tell now, I'm not whispering. There's a huge echo in this room. So I got on Twitter and I was messaging my friend Kyla. For those of you that don't know, she is Kyla Rebecca on YouTube. I was messaging Kyla and I was like, I filmed a video. I hated it. I can't post it. And she's like, you're really not going to post it? I was like, no, there's no way. It was total trash. It was so awkward. I don't even know who I am. And she's like, oh, that's fine. All of my first videos are private now and they will never see the light of day. So that made me feel better. But I vlogged earlier today and I was like, you know what? I've wanted to do this for so long and I'm not going to sit down and feel awkward. I'm just going to go at it. So here we go with the first video. We'll kind of see what happens from here. So I am from Northwest Ohio and I wanted to tell a story about this haunted road that a lot of teenagers frequent, and I have gone there several times. This was one of the places that we used to go to the most when we were ghost hunting. Now the first time I went to this place I was 20, and it was one of the first times I had ever gone ghost hunting. I had no idea what I was doing. I was scared of like everything. I remember being out there and all we took with us as tools, I guess you could say, was my Ouija board, which has since been ran over. Thank you to the boys for that. And I also took my phone and just used a recorder on there to see if I could capture anything. Now that I'm older and I have different tools, I can look back and just laugh because I was 20 years old starting out, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's weird seeing how far I've come in 4 years. Anyway, the first night that we went out to Holcomb Road, I had no idea where we were going, what the legend was of this place. I went with a bunch of friends that were deeply into ghost hunting. They really like just going to haunted and abandoned places. So I was like, you know what, I'll give it a try. We'll kind of see where it goes from there. Now, at this point, I didn't realize how passionate I was about these things. And after we went on a couple of ghost hunting trips to this road and to other places, I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. This stuff is so cool. So I started really getting into haunted places, abandoned places. I read a lot of creepypasta. I read conspiracy theories. I was reading everything I could get my hands on. And during this time, it was the summer before I started hair school, cosmetology school. For those of you that don't know, I am a licensed cosmetologist, and I'm also going to school to be a nurse right now. This was the summer before I started cosmetology school, and I remember a lot of us used to just hang out every night. We would sleep all day, we would stay up all night and go to all these haunted places. We would stay up reading creepy things online. We never ever slept at night. We would sleep maybe 5 or 6 hours during the day, and then we were right back at it at night doing it again. So I can still remember the summertime and it being like 65 degrees out at night. And we would all get huddled up and we would grab a Ouija board, we would grab flashlights from my friend Stacy's mom's, and we would also grab my Ouija board, which I had purchased a couple months prior to this. I never knew what Holcomb Road was, and it still kind of gives me goosebumps to this day, just knowing the story and knowing other stories that people have told about it and things that they've experienced. So I want to read one account really quick. I just found on Google, and usually a lot of the things that I find about Holcomb Road are from several years ago, at least 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know what this website is. I've never heard of it. It kind of reminds me of Reddit. It's called Steemit, but it's STEEMIT.com. And it says Holcomb Road near Pemberville, Ohio. This is a true account of a haunted road my sister and I drove down when we took a trip to Ohio a few years ago. This road is in northern Ohio near Pemberville and just off Highway 199. We're looking for some supposedly haunted place to check out. We did some research and found this road, which is only about 20 minutes from my sister's old house. We decided to check it out for ourselves. The stories about this road tell of a tragedy involving a school bus accident and the death of several kids and the driver. It's been told how you can see red eyes in the woods along with children looking at you through the trees. There have also been reports of a phantom light floating toward you if you stop and park at the entrance of the woods, or that the single light may chase you out of the woods. This is weird reading like the folklore of it and just thinking about the things I've seen out there and the things I've experienced. Well, we didn't see any red eyes. We got there right around dusk and drove down the road the first time. We were nervous, of course, because we had read all the stories. As we headed towards the woods, we noticed a vehicle approaching us. Oddly enough, it was an old school bus. That was freaky, but it really was a bus. I can totally see a school bus driving out there because it is in a very large school district and they do have buses. I mean, this is out in the country, you're going to see a school bus. So that doesn't really freak me out that much, but just thinking about the fact of what happened out there, supposedly, and seeing a school bus, it's just kind of eerie. Like, it would give me chills if I was out there and I saw that. Besides the bus, the first time we just drove through and nothing really happened. My sister snapped pictures as I drove. It was kind of funny, though, how when I looked in the rear view mirror, I saw a single headlight behind us. So that's really weird because I remember a couple of times we would drive my friend Sadie's SUV down this road. We would always look back behind us into the woods, or not completely into the woods, but when we were driving down the road, we'd look directly behind us into the road and you could see a single headlight. Always. We saw it so often and we just kind of brushed it off as it is what it is. Like, that's just, I don't know. It freaked me out the first time, but after a while I was like, I feel like we're always going to see this headlight. When I pulled over to turn around, we were passed by a beat-up old truck with a busted headlight. I guess you could say we did get followed by a light. So that makes sense. Any other time I've been out there and we saw a headlight in the road, it was never from a car. We always checked. The people I used to investigate with, we would try to debunk as much as we could. We were never those people that heard something go bump in the night and we were like, oh my gosh, that's a spirit or there's a demonic entity here. We always tried to debunk it, and there was never ever a car around us when we saw the single headlight. The trip back was much more exciting. It was dark by this time, and we decided to drive very slowly so my sister could take some pictures on the other side of the road. I'm not gonna lie, this road at night, if you get there right at dusk and it's in the fall time, it's really pretty with all of the trees and everything, so I could see why you would want to take pictures out there, even if you're not a paranormal enthusiast. I'll insert pictures so you guys can see what this road looks like because it is actually really pretty. We were really creeped out by this point. The place is very dark and has an eerie feeling about it. I was almost at a complete stop when my sister looked at a picture she has just snapped and yelled, "Get the fuck out of here." So I did. There were so many times that we were on that road and we would see something in the woods or hear something, and I'm not gonna lie, we heard, it sounded like a child screaming, but I mean, I've heard that also coyotes sound like that, and we do have some of those around here. So I'm not going to brush it off saying, oh, it was totally a child screaming, it could have been a coyote, but that stuff does scare you after a while, and I remember there were several times where some of us would tell Sadie, can we just like drive around the block and just give it a minute so we could all kind of calm ourselves down before we went back. Anytime we went, there were usually 4 to 6 of us. There were a couple of times where there were more than that. Sometimes there were 8 to 10 of us. We actually met some other people out at this road, and we would invite them to go back with us. And they were really cool guys. They just hung out. They wanted to investigate like we did. But the cool thing about the people I went with was most of them anyway, took it very seriously what we did, and they wanted to be calm in the moment. They did not want to go in there heart beating, freaking out, assuming the worst is going to happen. So we would drive around the block and come back if anything spooked any of us, and it would give us a clear mind, and then we could feel better about what we were doing. I wasn't sure what was up because I had been focused on driving and didn't see anything. She said she had seen someone looking back at her in the passenger's side mirror. Freaks me out so bad. I'll tell my story later, but that just like freaks me out because I remember stuff like that happening. We got out of there in a hurry and didn't bother to look back. When we looked at the pictures, we did see some strange things. The thing about seeing people in the rearview mirror is I remember specifically this one time we were out there, we had found handprints on the inside of Sadie's SUV. I know a lot of people that go out there know the legend of what happens out there, and they will take baby powder with them and they will sprinkle it either near their car for footprints or on their car to see if they can find any handprints. And that sounds completely insane. Like, you're not going to find anything. It's just whatever, old legend. We actually, one night we were getting ready to leave, and I remember one of the boys had crawled into the passenger seat of the SUV, and I was sitting in the back, and he had said, "There's handprints on the front windshield." And I was like, "There's not handprints. Like, you're just messing with me." There were actual handprints. I remember the one night we went into the woods, and if you turn off of 199 onto Holcomb Road, we had parked on the left-hand side. We had walked probably halfway down the road, and we were about 6 feet into the woods, 6 to 8 feet into the woods, and we were just kind of standing there listening. I remember specifically hearing children talking to each other. And it was one night that I had goosebumps and I was actually pretty terrified. Granted, this was back in the days of when I first started, so anything usually scared me. But I remember being in the woods and just listening to the children, and I was so scared. And I was trying to brush it off, like, that's got to be coyotes. I didn't have an explanation for sure, but I assumed it was just coyotes. I was so freaked out, I just stood there frozen and just listened and listened. And I remember a couple of the guys were standing next to me, and some of them kind of were jokesters, so I never knew what to expect with them. But whenever we went on investigations, they were usually pretty serious about it. And I could tell, seeing their faces in the moonlight, that they were not joking around at all. And it was not any of them making noises. None of them were giggling. It was extremely serious. Now, legend has it that the school bus driver had crashed, either due to the rambunctiousness from the kids, freaking him out, stressing him out, and he had hit a tree, or he was angry and he wrecked on purpose. So I've heard and read many times that the face of the school bus driver is imprinted in the tree. Now, I have never seen a face imprinted into a tree out there or anything like that. When you drive off of 199, if you were from Northwest Ohio and you were planning on going here, if you drive on 199, turn right onto Holcomb Road, you'll pass a little area of trees on the left, cornfield, and then you're in Holcomb Woods. Now, on the left-hand side, about halfway through or halfway down the road, there's a big clearing, and they say that's where the bus crashed. Apparently, this bus crash took place in the 60s or 70s. It was maybe even before that. I don't know. Different websites say different things. If you were down on this road, you could see the school bus. I remember seeing pictures on the internet of a school bus in the clearing, and they said it was that wrecked school bus. I'm not sure how true that was. I have a lot of people say that Holcomb Road is just a legend made up to scare children. Not really children, but teenagers in the area. I do know there are quite a few teenagers that go out and drink and do whatever out there, listen to loud music, and it could have been a legend made up by neighboring houses that were just tired of teenagers hanging out on that road and keeping them up at all hours of the night. I do know, though, from what I have personally experienced, that it is not somewhere you want to go alone. It's a very creepy area of town. If you do go there and investigate, please be respectful. I know there are sheriffs that patrol the area, and they know there are a lot of people out there doing ghost hunting. I remember one night specifically, they had pulled up out there. They asked us what we were doing, and we had told them we were ghost hunting, and they said, "Okay, please wrap it up soon and leave." Now, I completely understand that. Like I said, there are neighboring families there, so they don't know who's going on to that woods, how noisy they're going to be, what they're going to be doing. So I can understand from that viewpoint that they would want you to leave. If you are going out there, please find out whether or not you should be out there. Try to go during the day if best. It's actually really beautiful during the day. So try to do that if you can. So Sadie is one of my best friends, and I know if her and I ever do any investigating together, she takes it extremely seriously. She doesn't mess with me. She doesn't joke around. I always play the Ouija board with her. And I know there's going to be some people in the comments saying the Ouija board is terrible, you shouldn't use it, things like that. But I have done my research. I have educated myself. I know how I feel about using it, and it was very frequently used on any investigation we went on. Her and I used to sit in the middle of the road, down in the middle of the woods, right outside the clearing where they say the bus crashed. We often sat there, just her and I, on the cold pavement, and we would try to communicate with whoever we could. There were several times that we did have response. She had thought a demon or the bus driver coming through. I just texted Sadie and our other best friend Stacy, and I asked them in a group message, are there any other stories from Holcomb Road that you want me to share, because I'm doing a video right now. Currently waiting on a reply. Why is nobody texting me back? Please, friends, I need help. I feel like after I make this video and I edit it and post it, and I really start thinking about Holcomb Road again, I'm going to remember other experiences I've had out there. Now, if that happens, I will definitely make a sequel to this video, make like a part 2, and see what else I can share with you guys. If any of my friends get in touch with me and they would like to come and sit with me and talk about Holcomb Road, I would absolutely love to do that. I know a couple of times my friends have gone on investigations out there without me. When I started hair school, they would start going by themselves, or I obviously just wouldn't go. It's not like they didn't include me, but I would not go because I had school the next day. I will see if they have any other experiences to share, because I think that would be so cool to have somebody come and sit with me and talk about the same place that I've been to before. I just get goosebumps talking about this place. Kind of creeps me out. Hopefully I can do a part 2 to this video and kind of give you guys some more evidence and see if anybody else will want to share stories with you. But thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day or night wherever you are. Thank you again for watching. See ya.